They broke the internet, now they're breaking the bank. Find out which social media sensations are doing it big. Also, Comedy Central's Roast Battle King is in the building with us, Frank Castillo. All this and more coming up next.
You are tuned in to Black Hollywood Live Next.
Hey, you're vibing out. Hey. It's okay.
This right here is not a preview.
They broke the internet, now they're breaking the bank. Find out which social media sensation is doing it big. Also, Comedy Central's Roast Battle King, Frank Castillo, is in the building. All this and more coming up next.
You are tuned in to Black Hollywood Live Next.
I had to add my little Latina accent.
Yeah, I was just
Castillo.
like, I was so happy. I was like, oh yeah, someone did it.
Hey, this is your song. This is Frank's pick. We're kind of slowing it down. This
Yeah.
is Thursday night.
I
Catching
love
a
slowing
vibe.
it down.
This is Frank's favorite artist, J. Cole. He wants to be a what?
Oh, I said if I wasn't doing stand-up, I'd be a gorgeous black rapper.
There you have it, you guys. What's up? Welcome to another episode of Black Hollywood Live's Next. I'm holding it down tonight for the crew. My name is Rheina. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Rheina_Ale. And to my left is our guest for the night. Funniest guy, and well, I guess I'm funnier than him sometimes. But we have Roast Battle King most recently. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Frank Castillo, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Can you tell our viewers where we can find you on social media?
You can follow me on Twitter at Frank C Comedy. It's 2 C's. And then I'm Frank Castillo on Instagram.
Instagram, okay. And also, make sure you follow everything Black Hollywood Live at BHL Online on Instagram and Twitter. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment, spread the word, retweet, all that good stuff. So, make sure you follow us. So let's just go ahead and get started. I kind of want to start off with the video.
Go ahead.
We have a clip of Frank's battle with Matt Broussard for the Roast King title. So let's see what's going on here.
Frank, I'm not surprised you beat Joe. I figured a Mexican would be able to pick off a fruit.
Matt's a big fan of One Tree Hill. Not the show, but the place where his family used to hang black people.
How many jokes do you guys have for this?
For the finals, we had they said 5 jokes with 1 in case of an overtime. That's not counting like rebuttals or just look like jokes or quick ones.
Did you have time to prep for this?
Yeah. This one we had about
Frank, I don't appreciate
5
you
days.
painting me as a racist. I painted you to paint myself.
That's okay.
Keep going, keep going, keep going. I don't appreciate you painting me as a racist. I paid you to paint my house. Frank!
No. Let's
give it a go.
So what happened?
Let him do it again.
You look like the IT guy at a taco truck.
Thank you, Matthew McConaughey. Order! Matt doesn't do drugs. His unsuspecting victims do.
So you had 5 days to come up with this stuff?
Yeah. And it was nice because it was like I had been doing it for so long that I had literally just paint like books and books and books of jokes that I've been writing.
Really?
Yeah.
And you just brought them out against him?
Yeah. So I mean, I wrote a lot of new jokes, But also, if there was like a joke that I had written, like that I just felt like was so good that it was like, because none of the jokes that I've ever written will ever be on TV except for this. So if you write like a bunch of jokes, there's a bunch of jokes that won't be shown.
Right.
You know what I mean? Except those live shows.
Except live shows.
Yeah, but those are like 16 jokes that got to go on TV, and I have like so many other jokes that I wrote that just will never ever be on TV.
You'll never know. So you won this title, roast
Battle Champ.
Roast Battle Champ. Is there going to be another? Do you have to go against somebody else for the next season, or are you just the champ?
Yeah, well, there's season 1's Roast Battle Champ, which is Mike Lawrence, who's one of the best comics and one of the best roasters I know. He writes on all the best TV shows right now. He's just really amazing, and he's an amazing comedian. And then I got season 2, and if they do a season 3, I think they're going to try to get us back, but also, like, I wouldn't mind waiting one full season just to see if there's more people. Just because I think it's gonna, if they do pick it up, it's gonna be even busier and stuff, which I feel like they will, just because it was just so much fun. It's like a sport, you're in the room. It was just so competitive. It was like you're watching like a team at that.
Have you always been a comedian, or when did this start up?
I started doing stand-up when I was 21. I'm 27 now. It started taking seriously once I got a job at the Comedy Store. I still work there. I'm a door guy there. Now I have to just answer phones just because it's getting so busy that I'm got to be on the road now. But yeah, so I've done stand-up like seriously for about 21, so 6 years. And then like taking it really seriously, which is like getting up at least 3 or 4 times a day, or like at least 15 times a week for the past like 2 years. But the roast battle I've just been doing like on the side for about 3 years, and it was just a show that started in the open mic with Brian Moses, Rel Battle, and then all these guys. And it was just a mic, and we just go for fun, and it just turned into this crazy thing, and then now it became a TV show.
Yeah, so have you always been like the funny guy in your group of friends? Or
No, I was always the guy that got picked on. Yeah, my whole family too, they roast and pick on me and stuff, but I think that's what just made me so unfazed by it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yeah, cool, guy I don't know, you could say something funny about me, but it's like my mom said some of the most meanest things about me growing up, and it's just funny.
You gotta share. Can you share one of her jokes that mom's?
There's one time my mom had me when she was young. She was 19, and then when I was 18, so she was probably like in her early 40s, late 30s. She had 2 more kids. She had my little brother and sister. So we all just look young, and we'd go out and like shop and stuff. So one time a lady was like, "Oh, is this your husband?" when she was talking to me. And my mom looked at this lady with such disgust. She was like, "If I'm going to date a young guy, he's going to have a full head of hair, and he's not going to be a fat dude." And I was just like, that's so rude. I'm right here. And it was hilarious.
Oh, I see. That's messed up, moms. I guess you get your comedic influence from her, huh?
Yeah, well, the relationship I have with my mom is a lot different than everyone else's, just because she had me so young. So we just bust each other's balls all the time. Like we let it fly, and I also just love her to death. Same thing with my dad. We all, it's like we all went to college together.
It's a pretty funny family.
Yeah,
I bet dinner is pretty entertaining.
Oh, absolutely, especially my siblings.
So, outside of your family, who are your comedic influences?
Big influences would be Chappelle, obviously. Louis C.K. is a big one. I love watching Lenny Bruce growing up. Who else? There's a bunch of other really some of my favorite obscure ones too that I'm like Ian Bagg. I think is really funny. Rick Glassman's good. Oh my God, I'm gonna mess his name up. Oh, darn it, I totally forgot. Anyways, Anthony Jeselnik's I'm a huge big fan of him, just watching him roast. Jeff Ross, Joe Rogan, all those guys. All the guys at the store that go work at the Comedy Store now. A lot of young guys, too.
Is there, so the comedy, I guess the comedy game, for somebody who's not really or who doesn't really know a lot about it, and they want to get into it, how do you get involved? Like, do you just start roasting people and putting it on YouTube, or how do you think, what's the steps to get into comedy? I think a lot of it now is just do it yourself. I think now is different in the sense where it's like you have so many different platforms and different forms of media that anything can happen. So it's like there's a kid who could just record something on his phone and then post it, and he'll get 1 million followers. Right. But it also just depends on how funny, like, is that content gonna last and be that funny, But for for stand-up, it's one of those things where it's like, I always say just go to open mics. It's
gonna suck for like 10 years. But just work on your craft and just get funny. That's what I had to do. I mean, there's probably videos of me 2-3 years ago, and they are terrible. They're the worst. But you have to fail a bunch of times before you can start getting good. Like, I had to go through a bunch of mics, I had to go through a bunch of auditions, and I had to be told no a bunch of times before I was finally told yes.
Right. So can you talk about one of those difficult stand-up moments and how you felt and what changed your mindset?
When the roast battle first went to Montreal, I had been working on the live show for a long time, like seating it, cleaning it, like writing extra jokes, just kind of doing it. When it first became a TV show, just me being a young guy, just assumed I was going to get a job or something because I'd been on it for so long. But the thing about Hollywood is, like, no one is owed anything. You know, you have to prove when you're given an opportunity. So that first time, I didn't get to go, and, like, you know, my friends are a big part of the show, and I got bitter and upset. And I remember I was just like, I was like, I can't go, but I do so much, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm just going to, like, I wanted to quit for a little bit, and then my friend who runs it was just like, thank God, because he's a cool dude. He like sat me down and took it personally. He was like, nah, man, fuck you. He's like, you can either be fucking upset about it, or you can get better and work harder. So when you do get that opportunity, it's just undeniable that you have to get on the show. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened. I worked, and I didn't get mad. I just got better. I worked harder. I did more battles. I got more sets. And then when it finally came and happened, everything lined up.
And now you're the roast battle king, so season 2. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Can you talk? How has your life changed since, or has it? Do you have more bookings now since this the battle?
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. One, I've met a lot of great comics. You know, Matthew Bouchard is one of like the funniest dudes I've ever met. Super funny, super smart. Really just a great dude. Same thing with all the New York battlers, Todd Barry, Zach Amico, Scott Chaplin, all those guys. It was just so cool meeting such a whole, like, it was like meeting just a whole other group of comics, and you're just like, oh, these are great. Mm-hmm. But aside from that, I got a manager, which was really cool, and then I've just been doing sets literally since that Sunday. There hasn't been a day where I haven't done a stand-up set, and it feels great, and they're like in front of real crowds, which is cool. A lot of headliners taking me out. Like I got to open up for Rogan, Joe Rogan last night at the Ice House in Pasadena, and then I'm going to be hosting for him Friday and Saturday in Oxnard, Levity Live, which will be a lot of fun. So, you know, it's just cool. A lot of opportunities, you know. Any
local shows coming up soon?
Yeah, you can always catch me at the Comedy Store every Monday, and then Tuesday at the Live Roast Battle. And then Wednesdays, I'm hitting open mics or shows, you know. I mean, just follow me on social media. There's literally not a place you won't find me. If there's a bar in Los Angeles or Van Nuys or in the Valley, like, I'll be there. So I'm very accessible.
Nice. So when you're prepping for a show or a stand-up, what is your process? Like, how do you get ready for it?
Well, for the roast battle, this was different just because it's like most of the time I'll, like, take my time and write the jokes. But for the roast battle, it was like an NFL combine, you know? Like, I had to really prepare. I had pictures of all the guys I was going against. I painted everything on one. No, I taped them all on my wall, had a huge board up. I'd write tons of notes, tons of facts. I do a lot of research. I watch a lot of podcasts. I do as much as I can to know as much about the person that I'm making fun of, because in the end, that's what's going to make me write a better joke if it's more specific and catered to them. But so I would do that, and then I just sit for hours and just write premises. I read a bunch of jokes, and then I talked to my cut man, which was my best friend Dan Nolan. We talk strategy all the time, where it was like, if you're gonna hit him from this angle, you got to do this. If you can be too silly, but you can't lose the crowd, you can't be too mean. So it was just a lot of strategy.
Wow, coming from someone I'm not a comedian by any, but like that's a lot, and that's awesome that comedians really go through all of this, and you don't really know.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, this is different because it's like a fist fight, because it's like a battle. You know what I mean? Because it's like you can have all of your jokes memorized, but when the pressure's on, there's that crazy crowd. I mean, you could see it, man. It was like
he messed up and the crowd went crazy.
Yeah, man, because it's like they smell blood in the water, and he was so cool too, because he recovered very well, and his joke that he recovered with got stepped on by the laughter. But the joke, because I heard the joke when he said it, and it's a real good joke. He was like, I'm upset you paint me as a racist, and I paid you to paint my fence. Hilarious, would have swung the momentum right back in the right direction. But, you know, it was a misstep. But That's when I knew. I was like, if I can just hit him now, I can do it. And he switched to a looks like joke, and then that's when I went over the top and hit him with a stronger looks like joke, which made that pop even bigger. So it's like fighting in a sense.
Right.
So by the last, and then the third joke I did was just, I knew if I did it then, it would work, but if I had done it anywhere else, it'd come off as too cocky, and I would have lost the crowd, which is that he's a lot like the food at my work. He's about to get served by a Mexican. Because it's pointing out that he had just messed up without really like burning him hard, but it was just kind of like strutting, It was real fun. It's just
Yeah, you can catch a lot of your work on YouTube, right? Most of it. So guys, make sure you tune in on that. I wanted to ask you about a certain situation. So George Lopez is he's a Mexican comedian. He went in Phoenix. He had a stand-up show. He made a joke. It says there's two rules in a Latino family: don't marry someone black and don't park in front of their house. Now, in that joke, one African American woman, she stood up and she was upset. She flipped him off, and he was just like, you need to get the fuck out. And if you can't take a joke, you're at a comedy show, you need to get out. Basically, it went viral.
Yeah, it went crazy.
It went crazy, right? So, at what point do you think it's too much for a joke?
I believe in freedom of speech 100%. I'm one of those guys where it's like, if you're going to say what you have to say, you have to accept the full responsibility of what you're going to say. So the joke, obviously, not the very nicest joke, but that's a joke he's been doing years. And it's also like one of those things where it's like, my family, especially older families, tend to be a lot more, they come from a different time. They tend to be more racist, which is not the best thing, but that's just how grandpas are. You know what I mean? Not saying that the joke he said was right, because it isn't. And it's just a different time. That joke he said, I don't think he should have been crucified for the joke that he said, but the way he handled the situation and talking to the woman, that's where the true problem, I think, lies. Because it's like, back in the day, I think if someone heckled you like that, you could just really rail on a woman, say terrible things, and the crowd would eat it up and love it. But this is a different time. You can't do that. So, yeah, I think he definitely took it over the far in the way he handled the situation, because he could have just been like, get her out of here, and really had her removed easily. And I think he shouldn't have said things the way he said it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Calling her out of her name. And
you know what I mean?
It's like you could have had her escorted out by just saying,
yeah,
or not even saying anything, just continuing on with the show.
Yeah.
He has been on tour. I saw him live in Sacramento for the Kings of Comedy tour.
Yeah.
So he is around a lot of black people, and he makes jokes like that all the time.
Yeah.
So at what point, I don't know, you've had Mexican jokes placed on you.
Absolutely.
I haven't. So when do you take offense to that?
I don't, because I'm one of those guys that just, I think I'm smart enough to know the difference between when someone really means it and then when someone's joking, or if someone's just being ignorant and just naive. You know what I mean? The other big part about it is just like, we have to listen and be able to, take things as it is, and also be willing to grow. If I'm going to say something, I can't pretend that the other person shouldn't be allowed to say that thing either. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that it's like, you shouldn't be able to be you shouldn't be outright just screaming in someone's face, saying terrible things, But I think if it's a joke, then it shouldn't be,
taking that
seriously, because it's just a joke.
It's a joke, right?
You know what I mean? I mean, it's also, there's a fine line in things. I think if the joke is funny enough, more than it is, racial or disgusting, then everyone has a pass on it. That's the weird thing about this show. You know what I mean? Like, there was a joke I wrote about Barron Trump, and it was, everyone got it was right at the height of everyone getting really uncomfortable because someone made a Barron Trump joke at the time, and then someone literally got fired. The joke I wrote was, Anna could pass for a Trump. She's got the body of Melania, the brains of Ivanka, and her womb is barren. It's just a wordplay joke, you know what I mean? And but it's at the time and everything, it's such a fine line.
Right.
But that's one of those jokes where it's not swinging down on anything. It's actually a compliment, and it's just a play on words.
Right. Do you think this is going to affect George Lopez in the future? Is he going to get more shows, or?
I don't know if it'll affect him. I think he'll be fine. I think people will still come out, but it's also one of those things. Is like, everyone now is at a real weird place. Everyone's jumping off at any little thing, and I get it. And I think that's just a real reflection of where we are as a society, And I think that when you make jokes like that, obviously we should all understand that it's just a joke. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if he's up there in a white hood swinging a KKK mask and then he's just, you know, saying terrible jokes, then it's like, all right, maybe we should definitely check in on George Lopez. You know?
You definitely got to know your audience, like you said,
Exactly.
and know who you're actually joking with.
Exactly. But it's also like all those people paid money too, you know?
Yeah. Well, hopefully George Lopez will see him. So I like him. I think he's really funny.
I mean, I love him too. But it's also it's just a different time now. You know?
It is a different time, and I don't think that he should have called that lady out her name. That was
that's
just
pretty.
crazy.
It's really tough too, because it's like, I mean, you know, now that lady is just, you know, it's. You got to learn how to handle each, especially with the way phones are and everything. Each situation is so different. Also, just be a nice person. You
Right.
know? Just be cool.
Just be cool. Has that ever happened to you when you were on stand-up or even at the roast battle? Has somebody been super offended by a joke?
Some people have been super offended by a joke. People would make fun of my girlfriend when I would roast battle. Some people would make jokes at my girlfriend's expense. And that's one of those things where it's like, and they would lose every time because the audience can tell when it's like, all right, there's a difference between using my girlfriend as the vehicle, as the punchline, and then there's a difference of just making fun of my girlfriend. And the audience would lose it. Like, there was a great joke that someone did about my girlfriend, and it was Frank said he was going to marry his girlfriend after this battle, so his girlfriend's rooting for me. So, and then I wrote a joke about my other friend and his wife where I was like, I would never make fun of Pat Barker's wife because I would never shame the victim. You know, or it was like Pat.
Okay.
Just there's different jokes like that because it's like you're not making fun of the person, you're using them as a vehicle.
Right.
And some people would make just jokes about my girlfriend, like they'd call her fat or some crazy joke. Yeah, and then she'd take her feelings would get hurt, and then it'd just be weird. And that person would be like, I'm sorry," and then I was like, "Hey man, you gotta apologize to my girlfriend," you know?
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, but she's a good sport.
Well, shout out to your girlfriend
Thank
for
you.
that, because I would have been on that stage like, no.
Well, that's the best part is that the audience can tell. They're just like, we can't get behind that because she's not on stage. I'm the one that's on stage. They have to roast me, and that's what loses it for them.
Right. Well, that's awesome. I learned a lot about the comedic world
Yeah.
tonight. So moving on to one of our topics of the night. So there's social media sensations. Basically, people are getting their videos like retweeted. They're going viral, and now they are breaking the bank, getting a lot of money for what they did. So there's 3 social media, I guess, sensations that I picked out. I'm not sure if you've seen this person. This is Danielle Bregoli. So she went on Dr. Phil September, and she had, I guess, issues with her mother, and this is what she said. She was like, "Cash me outside, how about that?" Calling the audience hoes, and just had the really thick accent, I guess, to not really, you know, it just didn't fit her. How she was talking didn't fit what she was.
Yeah.
You get me
How
what I'm
she's
saying.
presented.
How she's presented. So now, after that, it went viral. You know, people are saying it everywhere. She has apparel now. She's charging $250 for blankets. She has a clothing line that says "Cash Me Outside," right? Like literally using the Champion logo, and Champion was
Causing
really upset
much
about
controversy.
that. Yeah. So then she also has music. This is a song. "Cash Me Outside" is a song now.
Yeah.
And then she was also recently in Kodak Black's video. So it's like, how do you feel about using? Do you think that she kind of, I don't know. Do you think I'm not going to say she shouldn't have been. I don't know. Why is the internet making people like her famous?
Well, it's our fault. It's 100% our fault as a society. No, but it's also one of those things where it's like, I mean, look, you can't fault her for using what she got to get stuff. I mean, but it's also just like, I think it's a lot of our fault as people.
Right. Like, do you say "Cash Me Outside"? How about that?
No, I mean, I think I will eventually. But it's also, we love spectacles.
Right.
We, as people, love spectacles. There's nothing we love more than to see a ship burning. You know, it's so fun. But it's also like we can't turn away. You know, we want to see what happens next. And I think that's because we've created, you know, I mean, you look at like My Super Sweet 16. We love shows like that. We love watching crazy stuff.
Right.
You know? Like, we all hate her, but we're all talking about her, and that's the point.
Yeah. And then another point was how she went on to She went on social media she went back on Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
And recently, and she was like, "You were nothing before I came on your show."
Yeah.
Like, who gives you that title? Like, it was crazy.
I mean, I 100% see what she's saying. It's just one of those things where it's like, I mean, yeah, he had a fan base, but it's like she knew. It's like, I mean, it's it's kind of like how Trump got the presidency. You know what I mean?
Oh.
She knew she was just like, I got to whip. She's like, I'm going to use that model. I'm just going to whip shit up and then come back. Because it's like, is what she said really true? I don't know, but...
Do you think it's real? Do you think this is how she really is?
How she really is? Probably, but I mean, I don't know if it's really like it. I definitely think she turns it up more, you know? I think she fell into a situation where she was like, oh, people love it when I fart in public. I'm just going to keep farting in public.
So another person that we're going to talk about is Salt Bae. I'm not sure if you've seen this meme before. So basically, he was like cutting up some meat, and he was putting salt, and that's exactly what he did. That's his form right there. Salt came out, and it just went viral. People are just retweeting his meme. They're saying stuff with it, and now he has a restaurant in New York. They've had a few celebrities that wanted Salt Bae to come and spray some salt on their food and everything.
So funny.
So he's getting a lot of money and publicity for this.
Yeah.
So another question I want to ask you is how does it feel when someone who has a real talent like comedy, like you're pretty funny, you're really funny, and someone who's getting publicity off of something like this, Salt Bae, or even Danielle, Cash Me Outside? Like, how does that feel? You actually have the work, you put in the work, and then now she just had a video. And does that kind of offend you in a way? Or
No, because it's also one of those things where it's like, I can't get mad at the things she's doing just to make money. You know what I mean? But it's also going to be like, what's going to happen in 10 years? It's on to her to figure out what she's going to do to make the next amount of money that's going to make her still relevant. Like me, I mean, I'm going to be doing stand-up for the next 50 years, and I'm going to keep doing stand-up. It's going to be the one thing that I always do, and then I can always go back to, or roasting, or whatever, I can always make money off of that. Am I going to do TV? Maybe, who knows? But, the Salt Bae guy, it's like, he probably actually cooks. So, like, now a bunch of people think he's hilarious because he's a meme, and then they're going to go to his restaurant and be like, oh, this dude can fucking cook, And it's also not as annoying, you know what I mean? But it's like...
I definitely think this one isn't as annoying as Cash Me Outside,
exactly,
for sure.
But it's just also like he probably can make a mean ass steak, Whereas like, I mean, you can only say "Cash Me Outside" until the next phrase comes back. You know what I mean? Because we're also going to be like, remember that one time we let that person do crazy stuff, and then remember that one time that lady kept saying that "Cash Me Outside."
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see who the next person that's going to be internet famous.
Yeah, we hate it, but we fucking love it.
Yeah, I mean. It's like almost as if like, what should I say to get money off of that?
I mean, you don't want it, but I get it.
know. But the last social media sensation. So this is Jeremy Meeks. He's also known as Prison Bae. His mugshot went viral. He has beautiful eyes. I'm not gonna lie, his mugshot is pretty damn good. And now this is him walking in the Philip Plein fashion show. So he's in New York Fashion Week. He's a model now, literally. Got out of prison is model. He had a contract, I think, while he was in there. I think out of the three, this one was probably the best, the biggest, like, sensation, because now he had a contract while he was locked up.
Yeah.
Who does that? Have you ever heard of that before?
That's awesome. I mean, you can't fault him either, because it's like, that's also just a talent, you know what I mean? I mean, just...
To look good.
Yeah, if God makes you beautiful, I mean, you just got to rock it,
So he was there. He has so many more, I guess he signed to a few modeling agencies, and he's doing it super big right now.
That's awesome. I mean, kudos to him. He literally turned his life around by just being good looking.
Right.
I mean, people get discovered however, but that's a good way. Plus, I'm sure he's, got an awesome trap house somewhere.
I don't even know what he really did. Do you know what he really did?
I don't know. He was just too goddamn good looking.
And he got locked up for that. Yes. Do you know any other social media sensations that you could think of right now?
Yeah. Like there's a kid that I think his name's Rheina. He's a Vine star. And I mean, Vine's over now, but that guy does stand up. You know what I mean? He's also acting on things. So I like the way he did it. You know what I mean? Because dude, that guy would go to mics and just other comics would just not give him anything. They would just be mean to him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But he stuck around and he kept doing stand-up, and now he's like funny and he's on TV and stuff. And like now he's just and he's a cool ass dude. And I remember one time I was mean to him at a mic, just when I was working there. I wasn't like mean to him purposely. I just cracked a joke, and then and I was like, oh, I feel bad. And then afterwards we talked, and he was just like super cool. He's like, oh, I thought you were like serious. I was like, nah, man, we shit on everybody. Yeah, we just shit on everybody. That's all. I mean. They meant it. I didn't.
Is he like the scrub when he came on? Like he's the new guy?
No, he was super cool, but it was like a bitterness. You know what I mean? Because it's like all the other young comics like can't afford a 2-drink minimum, like a burger, and then like he's got money.
He's got money.
And everyone's just like, man, fuck you. It's like the kid with a nice car in high school. He's like, what was I supposed to do? My parents are good.
Right.
Well, he's a great dude though.
Last question before we wrap. So they're on Instagram, Twitter. There's a lot of these skits coming out. So they're pretty. Some of them are pretty funny. Some of them are a little forced, I'd say. Have you ever been involved in a skit, or are you thinking about doing one for?
I used to do this. I'm gonna regret admitting this, but when I was younger, one of the first jobs I got was writing at a Pechanga Resort and Casino. I mean, that's not embarrassing. No, that's not embarrassing. But I got to write really fun skits. And it's like I got to write like a rap video, and they like paid us to film it, and it was a lot of fun, and it was great, and they're like super ridiculous, and I'm glad they let us do it. But just me watching, I'm just like, God, I was
Why? What was it so bad? What was one of the skits? Do you remember?
Oh no, it was like it was just so much fun because it was like they would shoot just regular videos. If you ever been to like a casino, they have just like the regular B-roll videos. It's very like cookie cutter stuff. But they took a chance on us, and they were just like, you can write whatever you want, because they had all these cameras and stuff, and just really great, equipment and a great department, and they would just kind of like shoot like waterfalls, So we wrote a skit where it was like us introducing a new slot machine, but it wasn't going to come out for like 6 months. So we went into the elevator, which was also a time machine, and then we jumped into the future to go play a slot machine. It was ridiculous. And then there was another time this is crazy. We couldn't get into a nightclub at the casino, so we got sucked into a video game called King of Bling, and then we just turned it into like a rap song. It was the most ridiculous thing. We had to shut down the pool and film. It was hilarious.
Oh my God! Can we find this on YouTube?
No, you guys can't find it. I mean, you can, but I'm not gonna.
Oh my gosh!
You're gonna have to look it up yourself.
You guys have to look up this video. I'm gonna look it up and see what
it's so embarrassing.
So yes, that was freaking interesting. Like learning about the comedic. Industry as a whole, because I don't know, people think there's a fine line between being funny and then being like stand-up funny. Yeah. What's the difference between the two?
Well, I mean, it's I think people can just be naturally funny. You look at like a Ryan Reynolds, and that dude's hilarious, especially just the way he acts and just delivers his lines and stuff. Funny. Whereas like stand-up wise, it's like it's definitely a craft. You're just writing your own jokes, you're doing these things, but I mean, I think I'm pretty funny off stage. I mean, I'm not mean. I don't roast people all the time.
Yeah, you didn't roast me today.
Yeah, I'm not going to make fun of you. I'm also just a regular person. So it's just depends, I mean, some people can be funny off stage and just can't be funny on stage. Some people are hilarious on stage and just regular people off stage.
Nice. Well, that is our show.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
It always goes by fast when we have great guests. So thank you so much for being here tonight. Before we wrap, can you tell everyone about upcoming shows and where we can find you and follow all your career?
I'm going to be taking all of George Lopez's dates. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to be at Oxnard Levity Live Friday and Saturday. I'm also just going to be around town in Los Angeles if you guys want to check me out. Follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. Always at the Comedy Store every Monday, always at the Roast Battle Live every Tuesday. I'm on a great podcast called Verbal Violence. Definitely check that out. It's me, Brian Moses, Coach T. Coach T is one of the best DJs out there, and it's just a great podcast. If you want to learn about the Roast Battle, that's where I'd say start there. Yeah, that's about it.
Make sure you guys follow Frank and keep up with his career. Also look for his skits on YouTube that he had at the casino. And if you find it, put it in the chat or the comment section and send it my way, because I'm going to look for it too.
I was very young and dumb.
I'm your host, Rheina Ale. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Rheina_Ale. And make sure you follow all things Black Hollywood Live at BHL Online on Instagram and Twitter. Like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Comment, share. We love to interact with you guys, and we'll see you guys next week on Next.
From executives Keven Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.